Good day everyone, this is Nicole S. Agtuca from BPED 2B, group number 1, and here is my short discussion about Introduction to Integumentary System and its parts. The skin, hair, nails, sebaceous glands, and sweat glands. Before I start my short discussion, here's a short video about Integumentary System.
The integumentary system, also known as the dermal system, is the largest system in the human body. It consists of structures that form the body's outer covering, and its functions include protection against the external environment, regulation of body temperature, regulation of hydration levels, sensory perception of touch, temperature, and pain, and synthesis of vitamin D. The major components of the integumentary system are the skin and the subcutaneous tissue. The skin consists of two layers. The epidermis, which is the superficial cellular layer of the skin, and the dermis, which is the deep connective tissue layer of the skin. The subcutaneous tissue, also known as the superficial fascia or hypodermis, is the connective tissue layer located immediately deep to the dermis, consisting of adipose tissue or fat.
The integumentary system consists of the skin and its accessory structures, including the hair, nails, sebaceous glands, and sweat glands. The integumentary system is the body system which surrounds us, both literally and metaphorically speaking. If you look in the mirror, you can see it. If you look anywhere in your body, you can see it. And if you look in the outside world, you can also see it. It is a system that can instantly tell us whether someone is young or old and someone's ethnicity or race. It can also protect us a great deal from harm and allows us to sense our surrounding environment.
Structure of epidermis. Epidermis, it is the thin and outer layer of the three layers that make up our skin. It survives the barrier to infection from the environment, pathogen, and regulate our amount of water released from the body. First one is stratum corneum. The outer layer of the skin is served as a primary barrier between the body and environment. At ito yung binubuo ng limang mga layer ng stratum basale at ang pinakamalalim na layer ng epidermis. Next one is stratum lucidudun. This is a thin layer and clear layer of the dead skin cell in the epidermis, named for its translucent appearance under a microscope. At ang stratum lucidum ay madaling makikita lamang sa mga lugar na makakapal na balat tulad ng palad at talampakan. Stratum granicum. This is a thin layer of cell in the epidermis. Mula sa pinagbabatayan ng stratum spinosum ay kilala bilang granula cell sa lugar na ito. Next is stratum spinosum. This is a layer of epidermis found between the stratum granicum and the stratum basale, na sanhi ng pag-urong ng mga microfilament sa pagitan ng mga dermosome. And the last is stratum basale. This is the deepest layer of the 5 layer of the epidermis and the external covering of the skin in mammal.
So let us move to dermis layer of skin. The dermis is the layer of skin that lies beneath the epidermis and above the subcutaneous layer. So from the epidermis layer sa deep na to or gawing baba na to, there's a dermis layer. It is the thickest layer of the skin. So meaning ito yung pinakamakapal sa layer ng ating skin. And it is made up of fibrous and elastic tissues. That is provide strength and flexibility to the skin. So, meaning yung fibrous and elastic tissues, sila yung nagpo-provide kung bakit natin nakukurot or napipisel yung ating mga balat. The dermis is comprised of 2 layers, the papillary dermis and the reticular dermis. So, meaning, from the dermis layer, there's another layer of skin. Hinati ulit sila sa dalawa, which is the papillary dermis and reticular dermis. The papillary dermis is the more superficial of the two and lies just beneath the epidermis junction. So, meaning siya yung nasa gawing upper part. Siya yung boundary ng epidermis and dermis layer. It is relatively thin and it's made up of loose connective tissue, which include capillaries, elastic fibers, reticular fibers, and the collagen. Next, the reticular dermis. It is the deeper and thicker layer of the dermis. So dermis skin siya yung mas makapal kaysa sa papillary dermis, which lies above the subcutaneous layer of the skin. So siya yung pinakababa ng ating layers of the skin. It contains dense connective tissue, which include blood vessels, elastic fibers, collagen fibers, fibroblasts, mast cell, nerves ending, and lymphatic. And the next, it show the figure of layer of skin. Sa gawing upper part, there's a epidermis layer. Tapos sa gawing gitna na to, yun yung dermis layer. Mapapansin nyo, mas makapal yung dermis kaysa sa may epidermis. At nakaseparate yung papillary layer and reticular layer. Yung papillary layer, ito yung parang boundary ng dermis and epidermis. Tapos yung reticular layer, yung mga nasa gawing baba na to. At kung mapapansin nyo din, there's a hypodermis layer, another layer of our skin. Ito naman yung nagko-connect sa muscle natin.
So, hi everyone, I'm Beyrouz Bautista. Andito ako para i-discuss sa inyo ang integumentary system na ang topic na hair and nails. So, the hair is a thread-like structure formed by a group of cells that develop within a hair follicle or socket. Each hair has a shaft that is visible and a root that embedded in the follicle. A pilomotor muscle is attached to the side of each follicle. It is stimulated by skin irritants, emotional arousal, or cold temperature, and reacts by contracting the causes goose flesh or goose pimple. So, yung pilomotor muscle, ito yung nag-a-attach sa side ng kada follicle na nagsi-stimulate sa skin irritants, emotional arousal, or cold temperatures, at nagre-reacts by contracting. Dahil dito nagkakaroon ng reaction sa ating skin at tinatawag na goose flesh or goose pimples. Ito yung madalas na nangyayari sa atin once na nakiramdam tayo ng malamig o minsan kinikilabutan. So next, the hair. At the base of each hair follicle, a valve enclosing a loop of capillaries is called the hair papilla and provides nourishment to the hair. It is one of the few living parts of the hair and is responsible for hair growth. So, yung papilla, ito yung nagpo-provide sa ating hair for nourishment. Papilla din yung dahilan kung ba't tumahaba ang ating buhok kahit na ito ay putulan. The hair. The transparent cuticle covers the hair shaft like shingles or on a roof, protecting it from elements and chemicals and from losing moisture. The cortex provides most of hair's weight. It contains melanin, which provides color of the hair. Stores oils, provide flexibility and elasticity, and add shape to the hair. When the cuticle is damaged and exposes the cortex, hair lacks dull and dry. The medulla is inner hollow cord that runs the length of the shaft. So yung medulla, ito yung core o inner hollow na tinatawag. Cortex, ito yung mantle o sa buhok na nagbibigay ng melanin para ma-provide yung natural na kulay ng ating buhok. Sa cuticle, nagko-cover sa ating hair from the chemicals na yung pinakalabas, parang ganun sa araw na may crust, mantle, and core. Nails. Fingernails and toenails are hard keratin structures that protect the ends of the fingers and toes. The nail root, also called the germinal matrix or nail bed, begins several millimeters into the finger and extends to the edge of the white crescent-shaped lunula. This is where the growth occurs approximately 1 mm per week. The undersurface of the nail plate or body of the nail has grooves that helps anchor it. So nails, alam naman natin na ito yung pumuprotekta sa ating dulo ng ating mga daliri sa paa at kamay. Nail root, also called the germinal matrix or nail bed, sa pinakaloob ng ating daliri malapit sa ating lunula. So yung lunula, ito yung nakikita natin madalas sa mga hinlalaki ng ating kuko, yung kulay white kung ating titingnan, at tumahaba ang ating kuko na 1 mm per week. So nail plate, ito yung mismong kuko natin. The nails is also the eponychium. It fuses the nail plate and the skin of the finger together to form waterproof barrier. The hyponychium is under the free edge of the nail. It also creates a waterproof barrier fusing the skin of the finger to underside of the nail plate. A lost finger or toenail will regenerate. So yung mga patay nating kuko o nasirang kuko mismo ay kaya mag-regenerate o bumalik sa dati. Ingrown nails are simply those that have curled down or around and are growing into the skin. They may become swollen and inflamed. Trimmed toenails stained straight across avoid the growth pattern. So yung ingrown nail na tinatawag, ito yung pamamaga ng ating daliri na madalas na sa hinlalaki sa ating daliri sa paa dahil sa maling paggupit ng ating kuko o once na madalas tuwing papalinis tayo ng kuko.
Hello everyone, my name is Patricia and I will discuss about sebaceous glands. So first, let's define what is sebaceous glands. Sebaceous glands are oil glands. They have tiny ducts that open into each hair follicle. Each sebaceous gland secretes sebum which lubricates the hair and skin. The amount of secretion varies with age, puberty, and pregnancy. Ibig sabihin, ang sebaceous glands pala, ito pala yung oil or yung madulas na oil na nakikita natin sa mga buhok natin. Napapansin nyo yung kapag kumuha kayo ng buhok or yung pinakadulo ng buhok nyo, may puti doon, di ba? Yung parang mararamdaman nyo na basa, ganun. Ito yung sebaceous glands na yon. Sabi din dito, the amount of secretion varies with age, puberty, and pregnancy. Mas dumadami pala ang sebaceous glands kapag mas lumalaki na tayo at mas tumatanda na tayo at kapag buntis ang isang babae. Sabi din dito, the sebaceous gland is a microscopic exocrine gland in the skin that opens into a hair follicle to secrete an oily or waxy matter called sebum, which lubricates the hair and skin of mammals. Sabi dito, ang sebaceous gland ay isang microscopic exocrine gland sa balat na nagbubukas sa isang hair follicle. Sa buhok natin, ito pala yung nagbubukas sa balat natin sa may buhok natin na tinatawag na hair follicle upang maitago ang madulas o waxy matter na tinatawag na sebum. Yung sebum, ito daw yung madulas or waxy matter na tinatago ng sebaceous gland upang hindi ito makita. Na tinatawag na sebum na kung saan siya yung nagpapadulas ng buhok at ng balat natin. Sabi ito, so, ano ba yung function ng sebaceous glands? The normal function of sebaceous gland is to produce and secrete sebum, a group of complex oil introducing triglycerides and fatty acid breakdown products, wax esters, squalene, cholesterol esters, and cholesterol. Sebum lubricates the skin to protect against friction and makes it more impervious to moisture. So, ang function pala ng sebaceous gland, ito yung nagpo-produce ng secret sebum. Sabi ko nga kanina, yung secret sebum daw, ito daw yung nagpo-produce ng oil para maitago ang mga hair follicle natin or yung para maitago yung mga wax or mga langis na madudulas. And yung sebum daw yung nagpapadulas or gumagawa ng langis. Ang sebaceous glandula ay kadalasang nakakabit sa mga follicle ng buhok. Follicle, ibig sabihin yung pinakadulo ng buhok natin. So, hindi ko idadagdag ko lang, ang sebaceous gland, ito ay matatagpuan sa pinakamaraming bilang ng mukha natin. Dito, ganyan. Tapos ng mukha natin na kung saan, dito, di ba minsan, kapag wala naman tayong ginagawa or kapag madami tayong ginagawa, nag-o-oily yung mukha natin. Yung sinasabi nga natin na ang oily na ng mukha natin. Ibig sabihin, yun. At makikita yun sa pinakamaraming bilang sa mukha natin at anit, maliban sa mga palad at talampakan.
Good morning everyone, I'm Marlyn Cabanlig from BPED 2B. So now, our topic is all about Integumentary System. At ang naiiyato sa akin na para i-report is all about Sudoriferous glands. Sudoriferous gland are sweat glands. About 2 million are distributed over the surface of the body, more numerous on the palms of the hands, soles of the feet, forehead, and axillae or underarms. Then, Sudoriferous glands is a sweat glands produce sweat or perspiration. As sweat collects on the skin surface, it evaporates and creates a cooling effect. Sweat also rids the body of waste through the pores of the skin. As it accumulates, sweat may become odorous by the action of the bacteria. The average person loses approximately 1/2 liter of fluid through sweating each day. Ang sinasabi dito is ito yung pawis na lumalabas sa katawan natin, especially sa underarms. Halimbawa na lamang kapag tayo is na engage sa isang sports, di ba pagpapawisan tayo ng gusto, and then dito pumapasok yung odorous. Yung kasi minsan napapabayaan din natin yung sarili natin, hindi na natin naaalagaan, natutuyan tayo ng pawis. So yung pawis na yon is bacteria yon na kung saan ito yung nagdudulot ng odorous or hindi kaaya-ayang amoy.
So next one is the functions of the integumentary system. And again, integumentary system consists of skin and other accessory structures like the hair, nails, and glands. And it is also known as the biggest organ of the human body. So, ayun no, ang skin is an organ at hindi siya isang tissue. So let's move on to those function. And the main function of integumentary system is to act as a barrier or protection of our body from the outside world or in any elements of the nature like the air, wind, water, sun rays, and in any other toxic substances. Another, skin is one of the first defense mechanism ng ating immune system kasi sa ating skin meron niyang mga nakatirang immune cell na siyang nagpro-provide or nagpo-produce ng mga first line defense against any infection. Pangatlo, skin controls and regulate our body temperature. So for example na lang ay mainit ang panahon, tapos tayo ay tumatakbo or kumikilos, as a result doon sa motion or movement na ginawa natin, yung ating katawan ay iinitin. At yung init ng katawan na meron tayo ay mailalabas din naman natin sa pamamagitan ng paglabas din ng ating pawis. Another important function of skin is sensation. So, meron kasi tayong variety nerve endings na meron sa balat kung saan sila yung nagre-respond doon sa mga nararamdaman nating init, lamig, pressure, or any pain. And lastly, skin also serve as the storage of our body. It prevents the H2O gain and loss. So, sa top layer kasi ng ating skin, which is the epidermis, ay meron niyang mga protein na tinatawag na keratin. So, yung keratin na yon, yun yung parang pinaka waterproof ng ating skin kung saan nagpe-prevent siya na pumasok yung tubig at lumabas din yung tubig sa loob ng ating katawan para ma-avoid din yung dehydration.
So I'm here to discuss you about the disease of integumentary system. First is a basal cell carcinoma. It is a form of cancer that affects the metabolically active stem cells in the stratum basal of the epidermis. Although UV rays are the main culprit due to exposure to other agents such as radiation and arsenic, can also lead to this type of cancer. Wounds of the skin due to open sores, tattoos, and burns, and etc. may be predisposing factors as well. Next is squamous cell carcinoma. It is a cancer that affects the keratinocytes of the stratum spinosum and presents as lesions commonly found on the scalp, ears, and hands. It is the second most common skin cancer. It is more aggressive than basal cell carcinoma. If it's not removed, this carcinoma can lead to metastasize. And lastly is the melanoma. Melanoma is a cancer characterized by the uncontrolled growth of melanocytes, the pigment producing cells in the epidermis. Typically, a melanoma develops from a mole. It is the most fatal of all skin cancers, as it is highly metastatic and can be difficult to detect because it has spread to other organs. And melanomas usually appears as asymmetrical brown and black patches. That's all.